Hello, welcome back to From the BOL the Burnley podcast. This is the rapid reaction to Sunderland 3, Burnley 0. Absolutely abysmal night at the Stadium of Light, coming after a day where Burnley did precisely nothing in the transfer deadline day. With me is Darren Bentley. We're going to start off with a quick reaction from our mate Tony Dawber, who was up at Sunderland and sent us a video. Bear in mind, when you hear this, Tony Dawber has been to a lot of Burnley games, a lot of Burnley away games over the last 40-odd years. So this is Tony's reaction as he walked out of the stands at the Stadium of Light.
Many years ago, it was at Sealand Road against Chester. We lost 4-0, and that was probably the only abysmal performance that's on a par with this one tonight. Absolutely atrocious. 1-11 plus the subs. Parker. The fans weren't much better, really. It was absolutely terrible. Misplaced passes, weak on the ball. Every 50-50 we lost. No ideas going forward. When we had a little bit of a break, there was nobody going forward. Absolutely atrocious. But at least when we lost 4-0 at Chester, we had poorer players. I think there's some decent players in this side. So what's gone wrong? It's very difficult to fathom. A lot of the owners, the manager, the players, and everything. But terrible tonight. It's going to be a long journey home. Thank you. Bye.
So there you go. Tony, not a happy man. It is going to be a long journey home for him as well. They're never fun, are they, them trips, Daz, when you've been away and had a defeat like that. But
yeah, I've been there, done that.
Grim, wasn't it? I mean, it really was. That was a performance that just had relegation written all over it, didn't it?
My immediate thoughts, it showed the Burnley fans in the stand about 15 minutes at the end looking thoroughly miserable. And I just thought it was one of those nights when you think they should be refunded for that. You know, the players' pool that they have for the end of the season they need to dip into it and refund those fans, because that, on a Monday night, is a trek and a half. And by the way, Monday's the shittest day of the week, and that was a game to match the shittest day of the week, wasn't it? They were awful from start to finish. I mean, I had a low bar going into the game, and they actually over-delivered on that. I thought we were woeful from minute 1 to minute 95. Didn't put two passes together in the first half. The tempo was just appallingly bad. Attitude.
See, that's inexplicable, like, really, isn't it? You know, I mean, they came out and they went on the front foot, Sunderland. Obviously, they're full of confidence, and they're going at us. But when we got the ball, and we had quite a bit of the ball, we were just so ponderous and slow.
It's becoming a theme, isn't it, of Scott Parker sides now, that you can have a patient build-up. I'm all for a patient build-up. But by God, we never chose a forward pass all night. And when we tried to, the passing was exemplified by Florentino, I think, who was just, I don't think he found a Burnley player all night. You know, and I know I'll pick on Florentino a little bit, but I put this in the group chat, he was far from alone tonight, and he wasn't the worst one out there.
No.
You know, there were 10 others out there tonight who were equally bad. And you're right, I don't know what's gone wrong, Simon. I have no idea what's gone wrong. But in a game that Burnley had to win, they had an XG of 0.06, didn't have a shot on target for the fourth game this season, by the way. And we're being almost ridiculed by the commentators. I don't know what it was like in the US. The commentators over here were almost ridiculing Burnley by the end of the night and saying, this is a Sunderland side who were 24 points behind us last season. They're 23 ahead of us this season. Just, it's back to the drawing board, isn't it? Completely back to the drawing board.
Oh, yeah. I mean, actually, the commentary we had over here on the US was John Champion on the World feed. So it was, you know, a British commentary, effectively. And John Champion said, you know, Burnley, it's been going on for 10 years with Burnley coming up and down. And really, it's only been for the last 4 or 5 years, hasn't it, of up and down like this. But he said they go down, they get their parachute payments, they come back up, and they're never any better. And, you know, he's got a point, really, hasn't he? Because certainly this is 2 times now we've come back up and not been able to compete. I mean, not narrowly missing out at the end of the season after a battling fight against relegation, but not being anywhere near competing, neither with Parker nor with company. You know, and
I think I said this last week. I'll say it again now. I preferred watching Vincent Kompany's team in the Premier League than this. This is turgid. It's beyond turgid. The closest we got to Sunderland all night was a scuffle. Other than that, we never got within 5 yards of a player all night.
No, you look at a player like Estev, who looked so quality last year, and a Rolls Royce as a player, as we kept saying on this podcast, and and he's been absolutely bullied tonight by Robbie. I'm not picking on him. It's hard to pick one of them out because, like you said, they were all so bad. I don't want to point out any positives because I can't think of any positives. I can't think of anybody who really produced anything.
Do you know what I said? I said I had a low bar for tonight. I had a low bar of expectation, and it probably got even lower when I saw the team line up because we are back with Foster up front. We've been there, we've done it, and he's back in again. And I'm not saying the Broy experiment any better, by the way. But, Fleming's on the bench. If he's on the bench and he's sort of fit, chuck him in. Do something. James Ward-Prowse is on the bench tonight. You're 2-0 down at half-time. Our substitution is to go to a 4 at the back and put another midfielder on. Not to put an extra striker on, because we're 2 goals down and we might need 2 goals.
Although he did have to sort out that midfield because he got it so wrong from the start.
Absolutely. But I'm not arguing with that. But put a striker on as well. You're chasing a game, you're 2-0 down, and you've got Lyle Foster on the pitch, a man whose average is about 1 in 8. Put a striker alongside him and go for the game. Throw some balls in the box. Set plays. Don't even start me on set plays. We have a set play coach, apparently. Get him out of the club because we can't get past the first man.
No.
Hey, and by the way, Sam, we're only scratching the surface here, aren't we? Tempo, set plays, substitutions, crap defending, rubbish passing, can't score a goal, can't keep a clean sheet. Fuck it, we could go on.
Yeah, no, it's unwatchable. It's unwatchable. It's football like that. I mean, we've struggled to get a team together tonight for the podcast because lads are struggling to watch it. Nobody wants to.
They're switching off and they're behind the settee still.
And I'm ringing round mates, texting mates earlier on to see if they're going up to Sunderland. They're not even watching it on the telly.
I'm happy to vent. I need to vent before I go to bed. I can't go to bed in this mood. I need to vent.
No, I mean, the formation, I've stuck up for Parker quite a bit, and they're a team who we know how they play with that big man up front on his own, really, and players running off him. And to play 3 centre-halves there and be totally overrun in the midfield, okay, fine, you can set up and then you realise that's what's happening and change it quickly. But we didn't. We got to half-time, waited till half-time. I mean, Florentino was bad, yeah. Ugo Chukwu looks so slow sometimes and so off the pace. But you're putting them 2 in against 3 or 4 players when you play that formation, especially if your fullbacks aren't getting in there. And the 2 wide players, Anthony and Edwards, play so narrow in that formation that we have no width, really. I mean, it was just tactically that he got it completely wrong at the start, and he was a bit better at the start of the second half, but for about 2 or 3 minutes.
And he only got better. It only got better because we had an extra body in the midfield. But you're right. I mean, the game was probably won and lost in the first 20 minutes in that midfield area because we never won a ball all day. The first goal, they've just carved us open, simple as. The second goal, they've run right through us. And then you're up against it. We've said this so many times. We haven't got 2 goals in us most weeks. So you've got to keep a game tight to have a chance of getting a point out of a game. Twanzebe was so bad tonight. So bad. It wasn't surprised to me that he got hooked.
No, he was. We'll get to some of the comments. We've asked for some feedback on this one because we thought we need to broaden out the negativity from just us two. But we'll be going through some of your reaction in a few minutes. But I mean, we've also got to say it comes after a transfer deadline day where we've not signed anybody. I mean,
we've said all along, the only thing that keeps us in this league this year is goals. The only thing that would keep us in this league is goals. And we haven't even attempted, well, we can strike that because we don't know what's going on behind the scenes. Hopefully the chairman will come out and tell us what's going on behind the scenes. But we haven't addressed that problem all season. And we're back with Foster up front. How many more times are we going to stick with Foster up front? That is a performance tonight that gets a manager the sack.
Mm-hmm.
On the back of 3 reasonable results, you put that in when you need to win a game. You need to win that game tonight, and you've got West Ham next week, and suddenly you can buy yourself a bit of time. And you can get yourself back in the race a little bit. So to put that performance in tonight of all nights, they are performances that get managers to sack. And I know that Parker will come out afterwards and just say we weren't at the races tonight, but yeah.
It's inexplicable that we've done this all season, haven't we? We've put up good displays there against United, Liverpool, and Spurs. Not brilliant, but good hard battling performances to get points. And then when it comes to the games, I'm not saying that you're expecting to win at Sunderland, but a point to keep the momentum going into that West Ham game and then start to give yourself a chance against West Ham would have been something to cling on to. Which is all you're looking for, really. I mean, we're into miracle territory now, so you're just looking for something to cling on to keep your interest in watching this shower. But it's never happens. Every time we've got this season and a game has come along and you've thought, right, this is really one we've got to get something out of. We've never delivered on those occasions, have we?
No, and there are no redeeming features tonight whatsoever. And you can include transfer deadline day in that. Because we've shipped 3 or 4 out on loan. All right, there were passengers that we shipped out on loan mainly, Oliver Son except. But we've done nothing to strengthen the squad. James Ward-Prowse comes in and he's on the bench. He can't play next week.
Against West Ham? No, it's his own club,
so
isn't
we've got a player on loan. If he's on the bench, he's fit. And we can't put a dead ball in for an hour. Stick him on the bloody pitch and get him to put some crosses in.
That is, to be fair, that is what, when you sign somebody who hasn't played since September, it is part of the course that they're not going to be fit.
I'm not
give him
arguing
20 minutes.
Yeah, I'm not arguing not starting Sam, but when Carl Walker's hitting the first man with 3 kicks after 60 minutes and 65 minutes and 70 minutes, at least give the kid a chance. He's now sat on the bench next week, so it's 2 weeks before he gets a game. Yeah, and I know they've got to get the miles into, they've got to get the yards into to get him up to speed, but for 15, 20 minutes, surely he's worth it.
I mean, I can understand the club not wanting to go out in a situation we're in and spend 40 million on 2 players in a desperate bid to try and keep us up when, we might end up very likely in the Championship next season. But, at least have a gamble on something to try and spark something, and to do nothing, I think, and I do wonder if that played into that performance a little bit as well, because even though the players don't want to be replaced, it also sends a signal, doesn't it, when the club's next to the bottom in the league, cast adrift and don't do anything in the transfer market. Let's have a look what people are saying, and I'll try and bring up our notifications page here and see if you can share it while we talk, and then we can look at people's tweets, because we did ask people to send in their tweets, and there's been plenty of them. Right, some of them are unrepeatable, but we'll repeat them anyway. Pirish shite, Estev shite. Yeah. Summed it up really when we hear that Sunderland signed a 17 million winger and we're bringing on a 7 million striker we signed from the Championship. Fleming, absolutely need a rethink about our strategy as a club. Tonight's performance is hopefully the last we see of Parker. I doubt it, though. Do you, Daz, do you think they would act?
No, I think if they were going to react, I think they'd have got rid of him before now. I think they have made the bed, and they probably make the assessment that unless things get drastically worse, he's the man to take us back up again. Otherwise, I see no point in carrying him into February. I don't think that. But as I reiterate what I said, those are performances that get the managers a sack. Any more of them, and then all bets are off.
Yeah, a normal club. Yeah, ALK need to be questioned big time, says Higgy Claret. Our Premier League recruitment has been a joke each time we've got promoted. I don't think there's an argument for that.
Well, that's
Holden
said, isn't it? We've tried 2 different methods now, and we're back where we started again. And I've said this a few times, haven't I? I'm not bothered. I'd rather be out with this league. I know for the stature and the money, it's important, but from a supporter entertainment point of view, I'd rather be in the Championship. I just get more excited for a Championship game than I do for Premier League games. And the other thing is, what are you doing to the next generation of fans with this? Because my lad now he's been a fan for 3 seasons. He's seen 2 relegations and a promotion. The promotion will live with him forever. The relegations, every time they get beat 3-0, he's off. He wants to go and support another team. I have to drag him down the turf for the next home game. So you're slowly draining the next generation of fans as well. And I know that's a bit harsh because you're supposed to be a supporter through thick and thin. But when you're a kid, it's hard to see your side. He was sat on the settee tonight playing on his phone half the time. Couldn't be arsed watching it.
Yeah. What did you have for your tea, lads? Says Andy Barton, lightening the mood slightly.
A lasagna at half time. That was the highlight of my night, let me tell you.
Right. Twanzebe, the worst 45 minutes I've ever seen as a Burnley fan, says Matt Rawlinson. I'm not going to argue with him.
No, impossible to argue with that.
Ruth M says, pundits have put us down all season, often undeservingly, but tonight we deserve every bit of criticism doled out. There's no one pushing back at that about our analysis of that performance, is there? I mean, I think everyone's on the same page about it. It was that bad. There's just no room.
And it's probably exacerbated a little bit, Simon, by the fact that it's transfer deadline day and nothing happened. You know, if this had happened 6-7 weeks ago, we'd still have been whinging, but it would have been another game and move on. But the fact that nothing's happened in the transfer window, apart from Ward Prowse, and then you go there on a Monday night and you're kind of looking forward to. You get home on a Monday, it's crap Monday, isn't it? You get home, there's a bit of football on the telly, get yourself a beer, sit down, and then you watch that. Nah.
Yeah. It's Italian Claret 2.0. Our Italian Claret was a very early listener to our podcast, if I recall. What on earth is it going to take for Pace to get rid of Scott? 15 games without a win, putting in performances like Brighton and away and tonight. It's just not good enough. We're getting worse. Turf More Loyal says, Parker is some of it, but recruitment also. They just not got it right for a while. I can see they tried to learn from the VK season with Dubravka and Walker, but it's just not enough. And, you know, there's some truth there, isn't there? They did go a little bit more with experience, but it's not made a difference.
But even the experienced players like Walker now are suffering, you know, along with the rest of the team, and it's just getting worse, isn't it? Gradually worse. 100 days now without a Premier League win, Simon. Matt Scrafton tweeted that earlier today. Great start. 100 days without a win. And there's no sign of where that next win's coming from. There hasn't been for months.
No.
You know, West Ham next week. West Ham they've picked up recently, West Ham, haven't they? You know, only before tonight we're thinking if we can get a result at Sunderland, West Ham at home next week. You fancy West Ham coming to turf next week and rolling us over, wouldn't you? Jared Bowen up against Perez.
Change of formation should have come much earlier, says Jordan Dean.
Yeah.
Had two players playing left back at times and they still got in behind us, overrunning central midfield again. I think we said that ourselves and agree with you on that one, Jordan. Who should I go to watch as I can't watch this dross anymore, says Gavster. Stick with the lads, but you can't go watching anyone else. But, you know, I know what you mean. David Clark. What was the point of signing JWP if he wasn't good enough to have made a difference in such a woeful performance? Our tactical genius will have the answer, no doubt. We're getting a bit sarcastic about Mr. Parker there.
No, but there's a lot of
Daz's point as well.
There's a lot of ill feeling about Parker, isn't there? It's been growing for a few months now, and results like that just make things worse for him. And sometimes you get to a stage where there's no coming back. You know, because if he gets a win now, he's only one more defeat away from the moans and groans coming back. You know, the rot has almost set in now with Parker, and I don't see a happy ending.
Yeah. Few points we've already made here. David Clark. If that isn't the last time this season we set up with a back five and a lone striker, why not? Plastic Paddy, how can they play three at the back versus one striker? Agreed. ALK, time to sell up. Let them ruin Espanyol, says Matthew Bostock. Frustration coming out there. We want our club back, says Jack Catterall. Richard Hume, who's been a very loyal listener to the podcast from our most early days, said, I've never called for a manager to be sacked, but it's time. Yes, there are other issues at the club. However, he's too negative and the tactics are wrong. Five at the back doesn't work. Bowden Knights, Chris Bowden got it right. We're a nothing side. Tactics are on the head coach and the manager. There's a lot of that sentiment out there, isn't there?
Well, we said that in our WhatsApp group, didn't we? We literally are nothing at the minute. You know, even Edwards tonight, Edwards showed a little bit of why he probably hasn't been picking him, because he was just bullied off the ball too often. And that, you know, we've named half a dozen players there. We could have named the other five as well. Dubravka's got to save that second goal. You know, it just spread like wildfire throughout the side tonight. And from 1 to 11, you know, you're talking marks of 2 and 3 out of 10, aren't you?
Yeah. Right, we'll maybe have a full debrief on that tomorrow. We'll see whether we can muster up some enthusiasm from the rest of the crew to face discussing that game again. But if not, we'll be back before the weekend. Thanks very much for your messages. If we didn't get to yours, we might do in the next one as well, but we'll reply to them online. Thanks very much. They're all appreciated. Keep your peckers up somehow, and up the Clarets.